Okay, so continue with the Wusik Station 10 coding. What I'm doing right now is preparing the knobs uh, to add to the interface. So I have three sizes, and in the skin sources, we have all the separate elements of the knobs. So they on this case they are all blue, and then the resulting file is a single file. So this is a small one, has all the positionings. It's 120 positionings, and there's the pen option, because the button starting from the center instead of the bottom left. And this is the small one. Then you have the medium one and then the big one. I think I rendered it correctly. I have to double check, but it seems to be okay. So now I already have all these files, so I can start close now. I have all the files on my skin overlays file. So here on the bottom, you can see that there's all the files, the small knob, medium, and big knob. And they are already rendered. So like I said, you are going to get a skin folder that's already done, doesn't have to render anymore. You just render if you want to change something. Let's say you want to change from red to yellow, just one part of the knob, or add some effect or something like that, then you render again. And you don't need to render every time, because it's going to get to fetch from a cached file. So on the last video, I was working with the screw bar here on the right, and it's already working correctly, just missing the up and down clicks. I haven't done that yet, but I want to start adding some knobs at least. So let's see if we can take a look at the performance hit. So right now my computer is pretty much at idle. The CPU usage you see here is for my capture program, which is capturing the screen. So if I close it, I close Wusik Station, we can have an idea what's this CPU usage that it's using. Now we just find which one, drop it to 0. And you can see that it's pretty much the same. So it was using almost to nothing. Can figure out which one is, drop it to 0, because it's really not using that much resources for the interface, not playing any sound on it. So now when we screw it, should redraw the whole interface. But since I'm using the GPU instead, we can have a look now. Let me close the whole thing. You can see that the GPU, the graphics unit, graphics card, is being used by the stream device, the capture program actually. So when I open up Wusik Station, it was around 30%. So it's going to use a bit more because it's using for the interface. But only when I move it, you can see that it's changing, because it's redrawing from the graphics memory and not from the CPU. So that's a big plus. And my video card is a very lame one, very old and simple one. So it should not be a problem with dedicated graphics card and integrated that graphics card too. So okay, so now the first one I'm going to add is the filter. But for that, I need to construct new widget, which is going to be my knob widget. I already have my normal component here, which already have some stuff to it, like a background, and define a background inside it. And we can just use that as a starting point, but we're going to need to add more backgrounds. Let me get something that's already existing here, like the scroll bar. I'm going to add border layer here. Just going to call this knob. And we're going to need a few information. The image, the first background, that's the bottommost background. Then you have the moving background, which is the background that moves when you scroll up and down. And you're also going to need another background, which is going to be have the moving background, the panel background, and finally the overlay. Declare this all here. Don't, doesn't exist, neither does this. So we are going to need the mouse down, mouse drag, mouse wheel, render. Okay, what is complaining now? Have the background, the moving background. Declare this guy is up, so I can store the information. Background, panel background, the overlay. The overlay is going to put top overlay, so I remember that it goes on the top. Top overlay. Background and the panel background. What are all those things? Let me open up again my thing here. So we have the gray background. If you look at the bottom, you can see that it stays the same. It doesn't move. Then you have the moving background, which moves with the layer, which is all these scratches here, some sort of scratches, and also has a dark overlay to it. It makes the background darker. And then you have the panels. The panels are just like the amp envelope, sample player, all the red lines, the red boxes, and the red dividers. And then you have another overlay that goes just on the top knobs. It goes on the top of the knob on the center. So that's not going to be always be used. So okay, we have all the images information, but we also need the positioning of the background that needs to be rendered. So it's going to be It's going to be just a pointer to where the image should be drawn. And we also need, we will need a screw positioning. Let's put that in as well. Because depending on the screw positioning, it's going to change. Or think now. Maybe we don't really need it. Don't think we're going to need it because it's going to be fixed. We'll see later on. But I do need the pointer to the moving background offsets, or just offset. The moving background offset. And then the panel background offset. And then finally the topper overlay offset. The size we don't need because it's going to be the size of the whole thing. And now we just add it in here. My neighbor's making a lot of mess, a lot of noise, so I don't know if the microphone's capturing. Okay, let's put this correctly. So now we should be able to render this without problems. For now, I'm going to leave the mouse stuff all out of the picture. And now I should be able to add to the layer on an array of the components. So this way I can add the components to the right place and just offset them as I move the screw bar. Let's create the render for this widget. There. First thing we're going to render is the background. This is done automatically by the component code. It checks if there is a background and decal present during the render process. And should do this correctly. Because I don't call render on my code, I call something else. I call process instead. And the process is going to call the render. So the background is already being taken care of. So now the next step is to draw the moving background. Not null. Maybe I'm going to have a knob that doesn't need. So just in case, I'm going to do like that. Then I go draw the call, landing position, landing move around. Now the positioning is actually draw partial decal. Show the call. And for that, we're going to need a few things. Let's see. The positioning. Choose the positioning. I have to convert the position, I forgot. Okay. Have the positioning, then we have the size. Size is always also going to be from the positioning. Then we're going to have the decal, which is the moving background. Now we have the offset. Set. And then the source size should be 5th and height. That should work correctly. Just going to leave. So we'll have the moving background. I'll check for the panel background. And we draw the panel. And just replace now here. Draw our partial decal. It's be the same position, the same size, then the background panel. The background panel offset. I was thinking maybe the panel background offset can be the same one. Panel background. Maybe I don't need two variables for that. But just use one variable because there's really no need for two. Just for the top layer offset can be different. But trying to figure. I'm going to leave like that. I'm going to have separate. I try to remember if there's going to be a case when doesn't need to be separate, but I don't think. That's my water bottle. Okay, I have the moving background, the panel background, and now I draw the knob. the decal, which is also a draw partial. Now we have the positioning, the width and height. We have the decal. Now the offset is going to be relative wherever value we are passing in. The value going to be the actual value pointer. You have to pass that. We also need to know the value is from 0 to 1 or from 10 to 10 minus 10 or something like that. So we need a maximum and minimum. But for now, just going to leave 0 to 1. And I need to calculate now. I also need the size of one knob animation. Just animation because I already only animation height or frame height. Pass this information as well because sometimes the knob is not going to be like 100 by 100. It can be 100 by 120, and you can have a problem if you don't have the frame height. And we need frames. So frames equals call divided by frame height. Total frames have the value and the height for each frame. Now we should be able to calculate just frame equals check now going to be one divided by total frames times the value. Now we have pointers. I use like that. Some people use like this. Don't kill me. And now I have to check for the decal offset. Going to be a bit different. So it's going to be always 0 and just the positioning in the Y that changes. And then the size of the decal. So this should already work. Seems to be correct. Place compile this just to check for errors, but should be okay. Then I can start adding on the update interface. Here. When we update the interface, we create the layers. We check for the filter list here. You can also add components. You can add the stuff in there. Check something. I'll have to check the positions and all that stuff. Going to be a bit different. So I have here my filter. It's going to be relative to the layer positioning. That's something I have to remember. Also have to worry about the different types of filter because there is an option for the custom filters. Then I have to create another panel just for that. For now, just going to work with this one. Let's take a. Here is the filter frequency. Here's the top. It should be relative to this one. Let's say I'm going to have to place it and then calculate again because it's not going to be the right size right away. So let's see. Where's my knob? Oh, here. I have to pass all the information now. Let me check. Where are my images? Shit. Oh. Who is it now? Ah, here it is. It's going to be a big knob. Then you need the moving background. The moving background. What's the name? Lay overlay. Lay overlay. Oh, I forgot one. Out of here. Where's it called? Then the background. Main background. Then the background moving, the layer overlay. Top overlay doesn't exist in this case. Now let's set the positioning. It should be around the in two. Around that. That's a rectangle. Forgot. Well, in this case, for this guy, I'm not going to use a rectangle there. Now that I think about it, just in the positioning. Well, that's fixed in the code already. That's not a problem. You can use that. So rec figure size is going to be size of the image. Now have set the positioning. What's something? Let's see. Decal background panel overlay positioning. What's missing here? Range amount. Forgot something. Let's see. Let's check again. Decal background. Moving background. Oh, the panel. I forgot. This layer all, which has all the panels. Now I have the positioning. Now the background offset. Oh, background offset should be. Oh boy. Layer screw height should be the current height. I'm thinking the position of the knob already has the information of the offset. I just need to know relative to the screw height. But in the case of the panel, it's different. So I still have to put in there. Where am I again? Moving backgrounds. The size. The screw height. Maybe I can move. I can hard. Let's say that I can put this in the color red because the only one that's going to change the panel. For now, I'm going to leave like that. Point. That's a way to do it. Maybe I'm going to create this in a different way. Like I'm going to have this code ready to be added and then return a new knob. But first, let me finish this one and see if it works correctly. Then I can think on improving the code. Now we're on the panel background offset. I'm going to make a change in two things. The top overlay. Top overlay I'm going to leave for last. And also the top overlay offset. Because in case I don't need it, then I don't have to worry about it. Good working. Let's check this. Big. Instead of null here, I just don't pass anything. And now I just pass the panel information. Panel information. Do I have this information somewhere? On the layers positionings. Create now. The layers positioning layer overlay top, I think is this. The one that has it. Yeah, the one that has it. This is position layer overlay top X and Y. Now we check again what's going on. Okay. Still need pass the value. Let's filter generator lists. Filter here. Here get parameters. And I have to check which one is going to be frequency. But for now, I'm just going to go like this and should be okay. Now the frame height, if I'm not mistaken, 120. I have to check because I need this information. This knob C is 196 because this one is square, so it should be okay. Is anything? Be okay. Value. So this should create already my knob, but I don't know if it's going to show in the right place. So we can check this out. I still need to create the code to render this, I forgot, so it's not going to show anything right now. So this happens in the layers draw. As it draws, oops, sorry about that. as it draws the layer, the layer information, layer top, sound generators. So right here, layer top. Now I have to draw components. And then I'm going to check what's going to be right here, components. Render this process actually. Hanging. What you need to do is this. Okay, this in theory is already good, but the problem is that's going to draw in a specific place that is not relative to what I want. So what happens now? We think we change the positioning in set. So change this directly. Here, set Y. What I was looking for. So the Y, that's not going to. Instead, I'm going to do something different. That Y, 0. Then when rendering widget, I offset everything by that. Should work. Then I can pass this in here, but first I have to get. Well, there's a problem in here. What if it's not a knob? We're going to create this offset variable as a component variable. So any component can use that. Makes more sense that way, at least. So now my offset position is going to be position Y. So that alone should already follow the screw bar 2. I think. So let's test this out and see what happens. Because I'm drawing the layer top using the position Y, and I have made my knob position relative to that. So it should be in the right place, but maybe I'm missing something. There's nothing. Okay. Before I continue, let me remove the extra layers just to not have a lot of extra stuff in here that I don't want. I hate that. Here. all the time. And then when this starts working, I also need to check if it's visible or not. But for now, I'm checking against the layer positioning. It's already good, but not perfect. So it's really showing me nothing. Now, why is that? Haters. Oh, here's drawing on the top of the thing. Could be that, but I doubt it. Just for the sake of checking things out, let's see what happens. It's not even adding to my list. So let's check why. Oh, I forgot to add. That wouldn't going to be work, right? Oops. So don't add to the array. It's not going to work. Go figure. Okay. It's doing something ugly, but it's doing something. Okay, for what it's worth, at least it's drawing something. I'll just have to figure out why it's drawing so much. Oh boy. But I have set my size to 202. Check one by one. 196 is the size of my check. Where's my calculator? It's right in my face. 3, 520. Yeah, that's correct. 120 frames. That's what I'm getting. So let's go to the render process and see. First, I'm going to check a few things out. So, total frames. Be sure it's the right size. And let's remove this guy from here because it is adding. Just want to check if the total frame is correct. 'Have to check the position again. Forgot. 61 frames. No, that's not correct. 196 frame size. Height of the sprite divided by frame height. Maybe I'm getting the wrong because when I load the skin file, ABK, it's correct. One big C, big pen C. Okay, that's correct as well. So the loading of the files is correct. Now, value and 100 Frame height, okay. Frame height equals frame height, value, decal position, ground, all, and background, all correctly. Oh, it's getting another file, not getting the file I want. But what's that? Go back there. Knob big, knob number 13. Third, A, B, C. Seems to be all correct. Let's check the files. Skins defaults cached. A and C. E. Oh, it's incorrect. 1200. Oh, it's setting the same size. It's different than what I expected. Let me check why it's creating like that. A, B, C, big, A, B. Oh, here. A, B, B, C, C. A, B, B, C. Okay, I was creating the knobs in the wrong way. Let me reconstruct the cache, which, as I said, you don't have to do this ever. Just my stuff to do. Close these guys up. And the great thing about this component that I'm creating is that it's also going to allow to do other things like show the value, tooltips, and stuff like that. It's all going to be in one file, in one class. Okay, so all files are created now. Check again. A, B, and okay, now it's correct. E. So they are actually all square. E, let's go again. It's correct. 20. Load and load the rest. Let me check. Show stuff. Sometimes the show value messes up with the thread or wherever code is running and just crashes and stops. But it's a good way to check the values without having to debug the whole thing. Because coding while in debug mode is very slow. Everything takes longer, so I don't like it. Okay, you have at least something happening here, which is sure wrong, but At least we are getting there. So the frame height and total frames are correct now. Just want to check now this guy. Frame positioning. Then I have to check why it's the height, the whole thing's getting so stretched. Should be doing that. But I'm going to figure this one out. Yeah, it's zero. Because the value is zero, so that's okay. So let's start drawing just the background. For that, I'm going to check the creation of my guy here size, because it looks like the size is all wrong. So here's a rectangle. Ah, okay, I see the problem. Yeah, that's not good. So the size of the knob is going to be, since it's a square, going to be like that. But I should now start passing some variables from the skin file, because this can change. Like you have a rectangular knob from some reason. Fader not going to show correctly. You're not showing correctly. At least the square is the right size. Okay. Okay, let me check. The first thing I want to do is improve this as I add. So I'm going to do like this. Let's say the widget up. Stack. Great. No. I'm going to ask a few things in order to create a knob. Most likely, I'm going to need this information here and a position. And that's not going to help a lot. Forget about this. Useless. So let me continue in here. Check a few things that position is kind of okay, but it's still not drawing everything. Why is that? check my actually here. This is drawing the partial background. Problem. The offset should be also be added there. Or positioning plus the offset. Now the size, that's the problem. That's always the positioning size, not the sprite size. I don't know why it's. I think it's a bug in the code, but seems to work like this. Okay, the same goes. Because at first frame y is going to be 0, the position of set is going to be 0. To move the mouse if there is more than one layer. Otherwise, no. Okay, still drawing this blank square here. Check if it's drawing at least the correct. Yeah, I know. Can't compile over an open file. Fully aware of that. Okay, so it's drawing in a complete wrong place. Now, why? It's most likely to be when I created the object position in the set. Seven. Kind of have an idea what is going on here. The offset. Oh, these should always be before this. This should be always be after this. Because I'm drawing the top part, was position wise correct positioning. Okay. Now it should just work. Yeah, that's almost the correct place. I'm going to check that in a minute. So, okay, going to draw now the moving, the background. Let's draw the whole thing. If it doesn't work, it's probably the last one. There is one thing I have to check if it is the panel that I'm putting the right offset position for the panel. Probably, yeah. No, probably not. Let's get it from the sample player. All wrong. So, okay. Draw the panel. Moving background. Okay. Otherwise, the whole thing is not correct. Yeah. Is not correct. True. Why is that? What is going on? Declaration of here. Okay. I declare the layer screw height as the try to remember. Let me check how I'm actually drawing here background goes in here. Starts from starts here background positioning. Okay. I'm gonna draw my component. Drawing from the offset. So well, I'm going to figure out this out later. Now I'm going to take a short break. So, as always, thanks for watching.